Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. The Secret Life of Bees. By Sumung Kid. Sumung Kid published The Secret Life of Bees in 2001. The book became a bestseller right away, spending 2 years on the New York Times list of bestsellers. It was turned into a movie starring Dakota Fanning and Queen Latifah after winning the 2004 Book Sense of the Year award. More than 6 million copies of the book have been sold, and it has been published in 35 nations. Both USA Today and Good Morning America have featured it. Additionally, it was put forward for the English Orange Broadband Prize for Fiction. The book tells the tale of Lily Owens, a 14-year-old girl who lives with her controlling father and adored nanny. One day, Lily's black nanny goes to cast her ballot but is confronted by racists who try to dissuade her. Rosaline, the nanny, is arrested after defending herself. Lily is forced to free the woman herself after Lily's father declines to post a bail bond for her. Lily and Rosaline flee Sylvan, South Carolina, where they live, and head in search of Lily's mother's final memento, a picture of the Virgin Mary bearing the phrase Tiburon. The two eventually make it to Tiburon, where a family of sisters who manage a beehive farm take them in. August, the eldest sister, starts to act as Lily's surrogate mother and teaches her how to manage bees. After some time, Lily learns that August was familiar with her mother and that she had left Lily when she was a baby. Lily is disappointed by this information, but she is happy to know the truth and to have her new family in Tiburon. Lily is able to stand up to her father when he tries to bring her back with him after learning where she is and that she wants to stay in Tiburon. He offers to let her live with the sisters on their farm, where Lily will receive all the maternal love and attention she has ever desired. In 1964, the book begins on a pleasant day. Lily, a young girl, wonders about the bees that live in her bedroom's walls as she rests in bed. According to Lily, her father and her reside in a home outside of Sylvan, South Carolina. She believes that her father is distant, if not outright harsh. Since his name is Terrence Ray, she never calls him Daddy and only ever calls him T-Ray. Rosaline, a black lady who works as Lily's cleaner and nanny, also lives there. Lily starts thinking back on her mother, who passed away when she was 4 years old, 10 years ago. The last time Lily saw her mother, she can still recall it. In the midst of an altercation with T-Ray, her mother took a revolver from a cupboard. The moment the gun hit the ground, a violent altercation broke out between the two. When Lily took up the rifle, she recalled hearing a tremendous noise. Lily admits that it has been challenging for her to establish friends since other students at her school criticize her for not having a mother. Lily has a roadside stall where she sells her father's peaches, while T-Ray manages a peach farm in their little town. But she admits that she detests selling peaches. Lily is strongly forbidden by T-Ray from participating in any organizations or extracurricular activities at school and is only allowed to wear things she crafts herself. Lily stores what little she has left of her mother in a tin box that she buries in the orchard because her father won't discuss her. A picture of her mother, a pair of her gloves, and a tiny image of the Virgin Mary with the words Tiburon SC written on the back are all included inside. When she is depressed, she frequently opens the box. The next morning, Lily successfully captures a bee in a jar. Rosaline objects to this but ultimately agrees to let her keep it because she cares for Lily. Lily tries to chat to her father about her forthcoming birthday that evening after working all day selling peaches, but he ignores her. She ventures outside into the orchard to retrieve her tin box and unintentionally passes out there. T-Ray discovers her and believes she went out to meet a boy. He forces her to kneel till her knees are bleeding on dry grits as punishment. Lily believes she will be able to rescue the bee from the jar once she gets back to her room, but when she opens it, the bee is still within. Rosaline registers to vote the following morning in accordance with the new Civil Rights Act by going into the city. She carries Lily with her. Rosaline spits chewing tobacco on some white men who are making fun of her. Rosaline and Lily are arrested after the males call the police. The 3 white males who tease them accompany Rosaline and Lily inside the jail as they are led there by Avery Gatson, a police officer. Rosaline is asked to apologize by the men, and when she declines, one of them hits her over the head with a flashlight. T-Ray shows there shortly to deliver Lily home, but he does not save Rosaline. T-Ray informs Lily that Franklin Posey, one of the attackers who attacked Rosaline, is the town's largest racist and that he will probably kill Rosaline if she refuses to accept responsibility. Once they are back at their house, T-Ray chastises Lily for her behavior, but she defends herself. T-Ray simply laughs at the thought that her mother is protecting her from heaven when she tells him that her mother won't let him damage her. Deborah, Her mother had abandoned her, according to him, before she passed away. Lily feels extremely upset by this implication, so she goes back to her room. She decides to leave as well after observing that the bee jar has now become empty. Lily sneaks out of her house and goes to the jail, where she discovers that Rosaline's father was beaten there by 3 inmates and that she has been taken to the hospital. Rosaline and Lily successfully avoid hospital security and escape. They head to the highway and start hitchhiking away from the city. They are picked up and driven 3 miles to Tiburon by a man driving a cantaloupe truck. Rosaline realizes that they are traveling to Tiburon as they continue to walk and charges Lily with simply wanting to flee for herself. The two part ways, but Lily later comes across Rosaline taking a river bath and decides to join her. After spending the night beside the river, Lily and Rosaline leave for Tiburon the next morning feeling as though they are beginning a new chapter in their lives. When Lily discovers a general store, she enters inside, buying some food and robbing Rosaline of some items while claiming to be visiting her grandma. Lily finds a collection of honey jars bearing the image of the Black Virgin Mary she has from her mother while paying for the food. August Boatwright, who resides on the other side of town, is the maker of the honey, according to the store's employee. Lily informs Rosaline of her discovery after becoming persuaded that this woman must have known her mother. The two make their way to August Boatwright's residence, which is garishly painted a vibrant pink. In a beekeeping outfit, August works in her beehives outside. August, a black woman in her middle age, resides with her sisters June and May. Lily informs the women on her own initiative that she and Rosaline have nowhere to go and that her father passed away in a tractor accident a week earlier than her mother, who has been deceased for a long time. She claims that she and Rosaline will visit her Aunt Bernie in Virginia and remain there. June objects, but August insists that the girls stay in the house with them. She leads them outside to the outdoor structure known as the honey house, where the ladies gather their honey for sale. The girls are informed by August that they will be remaining there. August reveals over dinner that she received the bee farm from her grandfather. Lily is exploring the farm when she comes upon a wall covered in strange strips of paper. She chooses to ignore them and proceed to a nearby creek. August decides they should pitch in while they are both staying at the Boatwright house. Rosaline is assigned to assist with household duties while Lily pursues her beekeeping training. May, the more fragile sibling, has a breakdown one night and needs to be taken to the odd wall with the paper slips. August reveals to Lily that the Black Mary statue is revered by her, her sisters, and some other residents of the village. She claims that although they claim to be officially Catholics, they have added a few extras to their religion to make it more suited to their needs. The Daughters of Mary is their name. Lily is starting to learn the beekeeping trade from August. As she describes how much love goes into caring for the bees, Lily starts to long for August to treat her like a daughter. Lily learns that May suffers from a mental illness and that she utilizes the wall covered in paper slips as a therapeutic tool to help her relax. May has a propensity to see the problems in the world as her own, according to August. When she sees how much time August and Lily are spending together, Rosaline starts to feel envious. Lily one day finds Neil, a tall man, hanging about the house. She learns that June loves this man dearly, but she is unwilling to get married to him. He keeps asking her for her hand, though. 6 women and 1 guy from the remaining Daughters of Mary arrive at the residence later that day for their spiritual gathering. Lily notices that there is a lot of singing and dancing going on throughout the gathering, and that everyone seems to be congregating around the Black Mary statue. August narrates a tale about the statue of the Black Mary, which she refers to as Our Lady of Chains. According to her, the statue was found in a river and later transported to a settlement of former black slaves. Before their master took it away and chained it, the slaves worshipped it. Despite appearing to have escaped its chains, the statue was magically discovered on numerous occasions in other parts of the estate. Soon after, Lily meets Zach, a 15-year-old kid who works on the bee farm. She starts to feel things for the first time after becoming attracted to Zach. The two started flirting daily. Additionally, they have similar goals. Zach confides that he wants to be a lawyer, while Lily reveals that she wants to be a school teacher. Rosaline confronts Lily and inquires as to her plans after a week at the Boatwright residence. She doubts whether there will be any consequences if she continues to live in this delusion. Before August discovers the truth about her, Lily starts to worry how long she can continue living her blissful new life. To live with May in the main house, Rosaline moves in. Lily is given a notepad by Zach, who instructs her to use it to compose stories. Then he tells her that because she is white and he is black, society will never permit them to be together. When a fresh batch of Black Mary labels arrive, August asks Lily to assist her in attaching them to the jars. In the course of their conversation, August tells how she came to own the Black Mary statue. She also acknowledges that she never wed because she didn't want to give up her autonomy, which was a concern Lily had. After finishing, the two women head outside to the hives and listen to the sounds the bees are making there. Lily becomes anxious when August says they need to talk later because she believes he has found out her secret. Later on same day, Zach departs to deliver honey to Clayton Forrest, a well-known local attorney, at his office. Lily consents to accompany him. Lily, who is now waiting in the office, notices a photo of Mr. Forrest and a little child, which she believes to be his daughter. She chooses to phone her own father after starting to feel bad for ignoring him. Hearing her voice, T-Ray immediately turns nasty and chastises her for fleeing. She refuses to tell him where she is when he asks her. Lily asks her father if he knows what her favorite hue is in an effort to make some sort of connection. He refuses to respond and says that if he finds her, he would beat her. Lily terminates the call. Mr. Forrest starts questioning Lily about her family and home when Zach and Mr. Forrest come back. To avoid the questioning, Lily makes up being sick, and she and Zach return to the Boatwright residence. Lily enters the main house that evening to use the restroom but instead finds the calmly sitting Black Mary statue. She calls it Mother as she kneels down in front of it and requests assistance. One day Lily observes May use an antiquated method of pest extermination that she recalls her mother doing. The method is fairly particular and calls for graham crackers and marshmallows. Lily starts to speculate as to whether her mother had ever resided in the Boatwright residence. She inquires as to May's familiarity with Deborah Fontanelle. May attests to having done so. Lily flees to the honey home to rest since she is so distraught by this information. She decides to ask August about her mother, too, but she soon discovers that she is hesitant to learn more. Zach discovers that a white movie star and his black girlfriend will be visiting the area to see a movie at the neighborhood theater. He takes Lily with him as they travel to the theater to try and catch a glimpse of the stars. But a bunch of white men was already waiting outside the theater. Black Zach's buddies start making fun of the men, and one of them even hurls a bottle at them. When questioned, Zach and his buddies deny throwing the bottle, and they are all arrested. Lily commutes alone on foot. She learns that Zach's case is being handled by Clayton Forrest. When Lily arrives home, he is talking to August, and because May is so sensitive, the group agrees to keep the news of the arrest from her. May quickly learns what happened through Zach's mother, though. Even if May leaves the house and vanishes for several hours, she doesn't appear to be instantly disturbed. The cops later learn that she drowned herself in the river to commit suicide. Lily is questioned by the police about why she is cohabitating with a black woman. She is told that it is beneath her. Zach gets released from prison the day after the daughters of Mary hold a vigil for May. Despite the fact that she is white and they are black, Lily realizes that she feels very connected to the community and that she does not perceive them as being different from her. August and Lily drape black cloth over the beehives as a sign of grief. In the notes she left before she died, May urged August and June to make the most of their lives. June ponders whether or not she ought to wed Neil in light of this. The vigil continues for several days before Lily is told by the sisters when she awakens that it is Mary Day. She learns that the daughters of Mary celebrate Mary Day every year over a 2-day period. There will be dancing, pastries, and lighting. Lily is eager about the possibility. Neil visits during the preparations to request June's hand in marriage once more, but this time she agrees. When the daughters of Mary arrive, there is a festivity with plenty of prayer and honoring the Virgin Mary. Zach and Lily share their first kiss that evening as the moonlight shines. The two make a commitment to look for opportunities to get closer. Lily rushes to find August to finally discuss about her mother after her conversation with Zach. August admits that she has known Lily's identity all along when she runs into her and they start talking. August maintains that she was also acquainted with Lily's mother. She claims that while the girl was a child, she worked as a housekeeper at Deborah's home, and from the time the girl was 4 years old until the age of 19, she was her nanny. Lily is curious to learn about her mother's early years. She acknowledges that although she ran away from home because of her abusive father, he is actually still alive. Lily admits to killing her mother by mistake and tells August what her father said about her mother attempting to flee before she killed her. Then, August confesses her love to Lily. She starts to discuss Deborah's past and how depressed she was soon after getting married to T-Ray. She claims that Deborah got in touch with her to inquire about staying on the farm. August was astonished to see that she was alone when she came, expecting her to be carrying her infant. The news that her mother abandoned her upsets Lily. Even though Lily attempts to fall asleep, She can't because she's too upset. In a fit of rage, she breaks a couple honey jars. Rosaline appears the following morning and aids her in cleaning the jars. Rosaline acknowledges that she had some knowledge of Deborah leaving Lily but had chosen to keep it to herself out of respect for her. Later on that day, August brings Lily a box containing Deborah's stuff. A poetry book, a mirror, and a comb with some of her mother's hair still in it are all found within. There is a photo of her and her mother when she was a newborn inside as well. Lily starts to see that although her mother did love her, perhaps things weren't as simple as she'd thought. Over the coming days, Lily starts to mend, and the other residents of the residence give her some room. June starts making plans for the upcoming wedding in October. Rosaline is once more getting ready to register to vote when Lily eventually leaves the honey house and returns to the Boatwrights. When Lily initially hears about this, she is upset, but August persuades her that it is a good thing, and she comes to understand that she is proud of Rosaline. August and Lily start working with the bees once more. August tells Lily she had hoped the Virgin Mary would take the place of Lily's mother. She emphasizes that Lily must look within herself for a mother figure and rely on that. Lily pays attention to what she says. T-Ray is standing on the opposite side of the door when it is knocked a short while later. T-Ray shouts at Lily as if she were Deborah as he starts to become perplexed. His rant comes to an end when Lily calls him daddy out of fear. He's still adamant that she go back with him. August and Rosaline show there just as T-Ray is ready to haul Lily away. August informs T-Ray that she needs Lily's assistance on the bee farm since she is aware that he will not depart without saving face. T-Ray feels comforted by this and decides to leave Lily alone. Lily is compelled to ask him again who shot her mother as he is walking away. He is adamant that she did. Lily continues to live at the Boatwright residence towards the book's conclusion and starts going to school with Zach. She starts to forgive her mother and understands that through the daughters of Mary and the Boatwright sisters, she has many new mothers. The protagonist of the book is Lily Owens, a 14-year-old who is mistreated by her father and longs to leave his home. She flees at the beginning of the book with her nanny and friend Rosaline, following the unintentional trail her mother had left behind. Eventually, Lily and Rosaline reach the Boatwright residence where they experience love and joy. The main focus of The Secret Life of Bees is Lily's coming-of-age story. As a result, it shows her physical and mental development, and her narration serves as the book's primary voice. Readers must base their interpretations on Lily's views because the novel is given from her point of view. We learn about love, race, and community from Lily's experiences in her hometowns of Sylvan and Tiburon, among other things. She is the one who teaches us the value of strength in general and strong women in particular. Because Lily serves as both the main character and the narrator of the story, understanding her is essential to understanding the novel. Readers must pay close attention to how she acts in her own story and be aware of the specific information she chooses to provide about herself and the manner in which she does it. The most significant aspects of Lily's personality are her resolve, fearlessness, and yearning for a mother. Seeing Rosaline defend herself against a gang of racist white guys gives Lily a boost of confidence, which she then utilizes to flee her father and start the investigation into her mother's past. Due to a strong desire for love, Lily runs away to Tiburon and takes the risk of breaking Rosaline out of jail in the hope of discovering information about her mother. She has no idea that her mother ever spent more than a few hours in Tiburon, but she is determined to find any lingering proof that she was there. However, Lily's perseverance is rewarded at the book's conclusion when August admits that she knew Deborah when the latter was a child and Lily starts to think of August as a surrogate mother. Over the course of the book, Lily changes from a girl to a lady. Finally, she starts to realize that she is surrounded not just by a community, but also by other strong, capable women. She starts to feel motivated in this setting, and after spending so much time working with the bees, she starts to work harder. Her connection with Zach encourages her to be more imaginative and compassionate, and because of his confidence in her, she starts working seriously on her goal of becoming an English teacher. By the time Lily discovers the truth about her mother leaving her, she has developed a strong enough personality to deal with it. She is old enough to comprehend and deal with the emotions brought on by this news, and she is old enough to start loving her mother in spite of all of her imperfections. Lily's meeting with her father at the conclusion of the novel is unmistakable evidence of her development as a person. She challenges her father, and by extension, the society she has left behind. Lily is a wise woman who has taken charge of her own life by the book's conclusion. Lily's fictitious mother is August Boatwright. August is respectable and unusual simply because she is a black woman who owns a flourishing business in the 1960s. She also happens to be a very large landowner and has disregarded the traditional marriage rituals. Even though the fleeing girl is white, August doesn't hesitate when given the chance to care for her. She has a wonderful kind nature and is a welcoming, friendly individual. Lily develops into something of a spiritual character throughout the book thanks to August's assistance in helping her mature into her faith. She acts as a kind of sagely mentor for Lily as she grows older. Lily comes to regard August as a reliable friend who later acts as her surrogate mother and protector. She doesn't think twice to include Lily in the amazing sense of community she has built in Tiburon. In the same way as it has kept May alive, lessened June's severity, given Zach something to strive for, and sustained and created the daughter of Mary, August's love saves Lily. Zach Taylor, a 15-year-old youngster employed as a farmhand at the Boatwrightsby farm, is avidly pursuing his goal of becoming a lawyer when he grows up. Since he was raised with the affection and support of the Boatwright sisters and his own family, Zach frequently serves as a counterbalance for Lily's character. He is good-looking, smart, athletic, and hard-working, and he has received great acclaim and compensation for these qualities. Despite the perfect facade, Zach does face numerous challenges that Lily is unaware of because he is a black man in the 1960s. Zach, however, makes the decision to not let the racism of others derail his aspirations for the future. Despite not even knowing any black lawyers, he decides to pursue a career in law. Despite the racial disparities, he also decides to pursue a relationship with Lily. Zach also demonstrates great bravery and loyalty. Zach gets arrested for refusing to identify the friend who threw the bottle at the white man outside the movie theater because he would not admit guilt. His determination to alter his life's direction only seems to have grown stronger throughout his time in prison. Zach shows Lily how to be disciplined while also showing her his love. He aids her in realizing she can overcome her circumstances. Zach allows readers to envision who Lily will become and how she may have been if she had started out with different privileges. Lily's nanny, housekeeper, and sole friend at the start of the story is Rosaline Days. A black woman named Rosaline works in T. Ray's home. She reportedly used to harvest peaches in the nearby fields, but T. Ray took her inside the home to care for Lily after her mother passed away. Rosaline is a powerful lady who speaks her mind and defends herself against the men who bully her in the book's outset. Rosaline's tenacity plays a significant role in her personality and is frequently the cause of her conflicts with Lily throughout the book. Rosaline, who appears brave, decides to use her right to vote at a time when doing so for a black woman in the South was looked upon. She adores Lily dearly and frequently assists in mediating abusive situations involving the child and her father. Rosaline does not become friends with the Boatwrights as fast as Lily when she arrives in Tiburon. She first feels envious of Lily and August's connection, possibly feeling excluded and insulted that Lily has discovered a mother figure who is not her. However, she eventually becomes a part of the neighborhood and grows to adore the Boatwrights just like Lily does. Rosaline's close friend and sister of August and June Boatwright is May. May is a jittery, worried woman with a precarious mental state. She once had a twin sister who took her own life when she was just a child. Since that happened, May has become extremely sensitive and melancholy. May frequently performs the song "Oh, Susanna" during an episode before leaving the room to go to a wailing wall she has built outside the house. May looks for the sisters' home and is a very kind and compassionate lady. She eventually drowns herself in the river since she is unable to keep her demons at bay for much longer. 1948 saw the birth of Sue Monk Kidd in Sylvester, Georgia. In 1970, she earned her B.S. in nursing from Texas Christian University. After that, she spent several years at the Medical College of Georgia working as a registered nurse and nursing lecturer. She was persuaded to enroll in a writing course at a South Carolina institution in her 30s, and she started going to writers' conferences. She submitted a personal essay in class that was later printed in Reader's Digest and Guideposts, a Christian publication. Kidd later rose to the position of contributing editor at the publication. The first 3 books by Kidd are all spiritual works. They are autobiographical accounts of her own encounters with Christianity and her conversion to feminism from evangelicalism. Her debut fiction book, The Secret Life of Bees, 2001, was widely praised, an immediate hit, and a New York Times bestseller. The Mermaid Chair, Kidd's second book, was nevertheless warmly received despite receiving less favorable reviews. The Invention of Wings, Kidd's most recent book, was released in 2014 and is based on the life of antebellum abolitionist and champion of women's rights Sarah Grimke. It was picked for Oprah's book club and debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Sanford Kidd is the husband of Kidd, and the two of them have 2 grown children. Currently, she resides in Florida. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.